Welcome to the From the Back Tees podcast. As always, I'm Zach Pencer, joined with Nolan T. Smith, and we got a special guest today, one who seems to know everyone we've interviewed in the past. It's Corn Ferry Tour golfer Jonathan Randolph. How's it going, John?
Doing good, man. How are you guys?
Holding up, trying to stay busy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy over here. I'm over in Portland, Oregon, Jonathan, and
Yeah.
luckily I get to continue to go to work, so it's not too crazy for me. I have had a bit of a stint of working from home, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's fairly normal out here. Nothing drastic, and trying to reopen some normalcy. Some stores are opening up, and I need a
Yeah.
haircut pretty desperately, so we'll
You need
see.
your haircut. Look at this.
I did this with nose hair trimmers because it's the only thing I knew I couldn't really cut myself with because the ends are like rounded. I gave it a little trim.
That's solid.
Yeah,
think-
it's my dad.
I don't know how
so my
people are
dad
cutting their own hair.
I know. My dad he was born and raised on a farm, so he's like very resourceful guy. And I will never forget one time he came home. I don't know how old it was, but he was just like he was cutting his own hair, and I was like, "Are you like you're nuts? Like you can't cut your own hair." And he's like, "I've seen people do it the right way for like the last 30 years. I'm sure I can figure this out." And it did not turn out well. So, not as easy as it looks.
No,
I
it
have
looks incredibly difficult.
I've had my
Yeah.
wife cut my hair. She did it for like at least a month, maybe 2 or 3 months. And she did a good job. But it stressed her out way too much. She's like, "You just gotta go pay for your own haircut, Nolan."
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, so before we start, I know you have a hospital that you're a big advocate of. I don't know if you want to talk about that for a
Yeah.
couple minutes before.
Yeah, so my sister actually worked at this hospital until recently. It's Blair Batson Children's Hospital, and the Sanderson Farm. That the Sanderson Farms Championship moved from Annandale to Country Club of Jackson, basically because the facilities were bigger and they could do more fundraising. And so that's been a real big boost for them, and just being able to go there and see those kids, like I didn't have kids at the time, but anytime you go see kids that are fighting for their lives, and you can, it's not just like oh, I'm going to give money, but like going there and like just playing Wii bowling or something stupid, like it builds you up. It has to build you up as much as it helps them, because you see the positive impact you could have on a kid that's just fighting for their life, and trying to get back to being, kids should be kids. You should be able to be normal and do kid stuff. So it's that has always been like really, I don't know, that always really stuck out to me, that's who I really wanted to always help when I got the chance. And Batson just does an incredible job with all their stuff there. So good people.
That's awesome. Is there any way that people who aren't near there could help?
Yeah, so I mean, if you just Google Batson Children's Hospital, you can see everything there. And then Century Club Charities puts on the Sanderson Farms Championship, and they have like tons of stuff you can do. Like golf has come back around, and they'll do the birdies for charity or whatever, like different stuff with the tournament too. So you can actually make it interesting, where you have like an invested, like how many eagles were made on this hole or something, and then you end up giving a few bucks. But I don't know, it's one of those things where it's hard to put into words, like the feeling that you get when you're around those kids, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So tell us a little about yourself. Like, where are you from? How'd you get into golf? Were you always into golf, or did you play in high school growing up, or
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, so I'm from Mississippi, born and raised in Jackson, and I went to college at Ole Miss, played on the golf team there, played all through high school, and then played college. And then I'll go back to junior golf. I I won a tournament in Mississippi called the Bubba Conley, and it was back when the AJGA would give you, if you won the big tournament, you got into all the invitationals and stuff. So my first tournament, basically outside of the Southeast, I knew I had good hand-eye coordination. I knew I was pretty good, and my short game was always really good. And then I get paired with Rickie Fowler the day the first tournament back after he decommits from UCLA or whatever it was. So it would have been like 2006, maybe. Yeah, it must have been the summer of 2006. And so I just won something. I wasn't too stupid to think that I was, hot stuff, but I get to the first tee, and I knew who Rickie was, but I didn't know, how good he was. And there was, 7 college coaches there, from all the top programs, and I shot 78. And it was very humbling. And it was at that moment, though, that I was I know for a fact, this is what I want to do, because I was so nervous that day. And I came back the next day, shot 67 and made the cut. And I don't know, there's something that just, this game just has always done it. I'm 31 now. I just turned 31, and it just keeps reeling me back in every time I get frustrated with it or something happens. And yeah, so I ended up at Ole Miss, first team All-American there. Then did 2 years on the Hooters tour, or the NGA
Yeah,
tour.
only the second first team All-American out of Ole Miss, I think.
Until Braden, yeah. So I was a second, and then Thornberry. I had it. I mean, I did it for
Still hold the scoring record though in the season?
Have no idea. Probably not. He did really good. So I was on top for a solid 4 years, and then he came and won NCAA's and Haskins Award, and I was super proud of him. And at the same time, you're just man, Dave Peggy, I think, had played the tour. He was a first team All-American, and I was man, okay. So he had 30 years or 20 something years. I had 4 before, Braden came along. But no, it's great. Actually, it's really good to have, somebody out there on tour that's from your school. I've had some guys on the Hooters tour and stuff, but to have somebody that comes out that that is as highly touted as he is, it's good to have that company.
That's pretty sweet. So you obviously played a lot of different junior golf events. We've had a couple of different golfers on here, professional golfers, but I don't think we've really ever dove into the recruiting process from high school to college. Did you have any other offers other than Ole Miss, or were you looking at anywhere else?
For sure. So I went to a pretty good academic school. So I had a lot of my dad is a family doctor, so I was always I mean, let's be honest, I'm not a jock. So it's not like I'm going to go be, a professional athlete. So I looked at Vanderbilt and, some other really, good academic schools. And then all of a sudden, after I'd played with Fowler and did that, I was okay, I'm going on a visit to LSU, Alabama, all the schools around. And yeah, basically because I was a late bloomer, college scholarships get offered so far in advance. I remember Gribble was playing in the FootJoy with me in 2006, and he was 12, it felt like, and he was already committed to Texas. I already had a scholarship lined up. So yeah, it happens early, and I was a bit of a late bloomer. So I didn't have a ton of scholarship offers. I had a lot of spots hey, come on the team next year. You'll have, whatever, 30-40% scholarship. And then we're going to, we'll be off and running. But yeah, I was drawn to Ole Miss because the facilities were getting really, really good. And just, I don't know, I grew up a Mississippi State fan, so it's super weird coming here, but I'm glad I did. The women are way better looking here. I married one of them, and all's well that ends well.
So are you still a Mississippi State fan, or now have you moved to Ole Miss?
So I don't hate Mississippi. There's a lot of hatred in the rivalry and in all the stuff that goes on. I don't hate, but I mean, I definitely pull for Ole Miss. It's not even a question. But I get along very well with me and Chad Ramey travel together a lot, and he's a Mississippi State guy, and we're not throwing punches on the golf course. There's a lot less hate involved in the world, hopefully. If you hate things and you play golf for a living, you're in for a rough ride because you're going to hate yourself more than anything. So
it's a fair point.
Yeah.
Do you follow the other sports or just the golf team out there?
Yeah, so I'm a big baseball fan.
Okay.
I played baseball until I was 14 or 13, and I was good at it. I was a switch hitter. I could hit both ways, like had really good hand-eye. So I got to play shortstop, and I've always liked baseball. And then I kind of got away from it until I turned pro and realized how much freaking free time I had every night. And instead of like drinking beer and being hungover the next day, I just watched baseball and had like 1 or 2 beers instead of just, drinking 12 and playing video games. So got to be a big baseball fan again. And now, I when we played the USAM up at Erin Hills, my host family were big Brewers fans. And so we watched a bunch of games, and they were pretty terrible at that point. And so I jumped on the bandwagon, and now they've gotten good. So it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, good time. You could have been like the first ever 2-sport athlete. I don't know if they've had a 2-sport golf athlete.
Once again, this is Little League. It would have caught up to me. I was also good at defense and basketball. I got a feeling I would have been crossed up and got my ankles broken. So.
You also said like 5 minutes ago, I'm never going to be a professional athlete. And I'm pretty sure your job title is professional athlete. So
yeah, well, they say the brightest stars burn out the quickest, but these hands have kept me in the game.
Exactly. Would you say that's the best part of your game?
Short game? Short game. I definitely don't overpower the course. My rookie year on tour, I was swinging it between 116 and 118, and I hit it everywhere. And it was humbling. It's really good for the Corn Ferry Tour with a lot of those course setups. To bomb it, like that's not even a question. Sorry, my dog. Yep. But the motto has been straight as long lately. So I hit it in the fairway a lot, and chip it and putt it really, really good. So
okay,
everybody's good at chipping and putting on the PGA Tour. So that you got to be really good at something else.
Everyone's good at everything on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. So that's why I decided to hit a lot of fairways, because that's a lot less stressful anyway.
Can you introduce everyone to the dog there?
Yodi. So this is Yodi. She travels with me normally and hangs out with me at night while the kids go to sleep, so she won't bark if somebody comes down the street. Hey, who's that?
Love it.
Hey, Yodi.
Yeah, so she's pretty chill. She hangs out, but
very well behaved. Nolan's dog is not nearly this well behaved.
Not
for a she's low key for a Chihuahua. Most Chihuahuas are kind of uptight, and she just sits here normally. So
yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a Chihuahua in those colors.
Like tricolored Chihuahua.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you're a good girl.
That's unique. That's a unique name too. How'd you get Yodi?
We were looking at dogs. So Lacey, my wife, grew up with Chihuahuas, and I was very against Chihuahuas. But I knew we were going to be traveling, and like Trey Mullinex was my partner at the Zurich, and we had talked about it before he got his dog. I was like, dude, you want to travel with a freaking lab through the airport? I was like, do you know how much pee a lab has when he has an accident or she has an accident? It's a lot of pee. So I was like, fine, we can get a Chihuahua. We'll get a small dog. I'm not getting like a teacup Yorkie. Like, I'll get a cool looking Chihuahua. And so as we were looking online at pictures of Chihuahuas, all these freaking dogs with their eyes pointed out sideways and big bug eyes, I thought they looked like Yoda. So that was in my head. And I guess when we went to name her, the name like Yodi just came out. So
I love it. Did you end up watching The Mandalorian?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was part of my new Disney Plus subscription that I have. That's been the only thing I think I've watched that
that reminds me, I bought Disney Plus to watch that show, watch 2 episodes, and I just can't commit to watching shows, and I'm pretty sure I'm still paying for it.
Oh, Zach, you got to finish it out. It's good.
No, I need to remind myself to cancel it. That's the bigger.
Welcome to 2020. That's how it works. That's how people make money.
I'm just subscribed to all sorts of stuff I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a million other suckers like you, Zach.
That's right. So before we move on from the college thing, I'm actually out here in Canada, in Montreal. So our college scene is very much different from yours. And I don't know, this might be a very bad question, but how does it work for the scholarships? Could they remove them if you're not playing well?
Yeah. So technically you're on a year-to-year, contract. You can have it go up or down. I don't know. my coach at the time had it where it was very like black and white. Like, this is how much you get. Like, if you get to be, if you're our number one guy and it's clear and whatever, you're going to get this much. But I mean, you got 4.5 scholarships for 11 guys. So it's hard to divvy those up and, make it work. Cause there's going to be, some people are going to need more financial aid than others, period. Just because like there was a guy on our team from Tennessee named Joe David, and that man like lived in the dorms every year. He grinded it. He was a grinder, and he needed, whatever much scholarship. I think he was on a full ride. We never really even talked about it, but there's only so much to go around. It just gets kind of tough. But a fellow Canadian NHL ref now, Garrett Rank, is a good buddy of mine. And I had him on the phone with compliance at Ole Miss. We almost got him here for his like victory lap, but he was too old. His clock had started too far down the line, and so he couldn't come play for us. It would have been awesome.
Oh my, we need to set this up with Garrett. He's like him and Harry Higgs are like.
Yeah, Harry's nuts. Harry's a good egg.
Garrett, crazy story.
Garrett, so you want to know one of the best Garrett Rank stories ever? I call him Ace. That's like, I still call him Ace. So I think he was staying with either Wes Roach or David Holmes at the Porter Cup. He goes up, this is in Niagara Falls, New York. He goes up to do the Monday qualifier. So this is, I think he's like 23 or 24 at this point. I had never seen this guy in my life. Like, he shows up and we're just drinking beer at the Porter Cup because that's what you do. It's Party Cup is what they call it sometimes. So I'm like, hey, so where are you from? He's like, well, I'm from Canada. And I'm like, oh, cool, man. And David looks over and he goes, yeah, that's Ace. And I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, he made 17 pars and a hole-in-one to get the last spot in the field this week. And I was like, are you kidding me? So in the Monday qualifier for the Porter Cup, Garrett Rank made 17 pars and a hole-in-one. Is what I remember. 2010 was a long time ago or whatever. But he, man, that guy can play.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. I don't know how you end up being able to be an NHL referee. I feel like that's a very crazy job too.
Yeah, my old caddy was from Minnesota, so he's a huge hockey guy, and he obviously knew the story. But he was like, man, that Garrett Rank took a puck to the mouth, or and we'd pull up video, and sure enough, like he'd be taking like ricochets off the boards to the face and stuff. And I'm like, man, I bet he wishes you'd have kept it golf.
Yeah. So do you have a top college moment?
Ooh. Well, it's really weird, like the way the college stuff goes. My junior year, I was a first team All-American, and like really bittersweet. I didn't finish outside the top 4 the entire spring semester, and I was like winning stuff, playing good. And we got the NCAA regionals at the Crabapple course in Atlanta or in Georgia. It was really, really hard. They had a WGC event there once. And I hit a 6-iron up the hill from like 190 something to like 6 feet and make it to get in a playoff to go as an individual because my team wasn't going to go. And I was like on top of the world, like I haven't finished outside the top 5. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the NCAA like finals and get this first team All-American. Like it's meant to be. And this like 25-year-old guy playing at BYU who had come back from his mission or whatever it was, Robbie, great guy. I've talked with Zach Blair about him a million times. Like I try to like catch up with him when I can. This dude was like, it was like playing KJ Choi in his prime. He was like the old savvy veteran, like couldn't shake him. Like I was just banging drives in this playoff and just like hitting really good shots, like driver 4-iron, driver 6-iron, like just like he wouldn't go away. And then finally this dude just chips in on me on like the 6th playoff hole. He chips in on me and I had like a 15-footer and I absolutely hit it perfect and missed it. And I was just like, and that's how it ends. Like, this is the worst ever. And then I still got first team All-American that year. So that was like my greatest story is like I got chipped in on by an old guy and still got first team All-American.
Is that when you kind of knew like you wanted to pursue golf as a career?
Yeah, I've always been, since I was a Stein boy forever and got to be inside the ropes at a PGA Tour event with Chris Smith and Pete Jordan. And these guys, like, they were shooting like 64s on Sunday. and just the electricity around it, like just watching them like go out and just make it look easy. And like, it sucked me in so hard. Like, I don't know, like I at that point when I was younger, I knew playing golf professionally would be cool. But when I was first team All-American, I was like, I probably should do this. Like I had good grades. Like I knew I could go do something else. And then it was like, that was my junior year, and I was gonna get some starts on the big tour because I was ranked number 4 in the world. Like, stuff could have got going. And then I went back for my senior year anyway. And that was probably stupid. Like I probably should turn pro, but it was still fun. Definitely would recommend, playing college golf. Like it's just fun having the camaraderie with all your buddies. And I don't know, the school part of it is what it is, but the golf part's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you see these like football players even who are set to like make tens of millions of dollars. Are like, nah, I'll go back to school for one more year.
Yeah, it's wild. It is. And I still get to be around the team a lot, and just good grief, they hit it so freaking hard. Like it's just, if they hit drivers around me, I instantly take them to the short game area and just, flex on them over there. But these dudes can move it. They're athletes.
Yeah. So right now you're out on the Corn Ferry Tour. Well, pause Corn Ferry Tour season. Have you heard anything on what's going on?
Oh man, yeah. I got a really cool email today from Alex Baldwin, our commissioner. They sent, I think it was a 30.
Not to be confused with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, exactly. Very different. If you meet them in real life, very different. So she's been doing a great job communicating. At first, it was like crickets, and it was tough. But here's our 37-page slideshow.
Ooh.
I guess you can't really see it well, but it's a 37-page. Yeah, it's okay. About like our screening methods and like when we come back. And the thing that I was most surprised about that I've been wondering, so like, we're sitting here, big tour, I've played 3 years out there. I know big tour takes care of the big tour. I'm all for that. It's the big tour. But like minor league baseball, I don't know that that's going to happen this year. Maybe it is. Probably will happen in some variety, I guess. But I could see them like with all the expenses that it's going to take to keep us up and running, and that we're not really a big revenue, stream for the tour. I could have seen them just, saying like, hey, see you next year. But like, they're committed. They say they're going to have hand sanitizer on every tee box and every green. They're going to test us with a questionnaire, thermometer, and the nasal swab. They're gonna do like one charter flight, I think, for us, which is gonna be like, I mean, that's not gonna fit everybody if we go every other seat, but they're really grinding for us. Like I'm very, very proud of, not proud, I'm surprised at how happy I am with the response. Like I had very little expectation.
Yeah, well, you see the NHL
forward.
or the AHL just canceled their season yesterday. It's true, they could easily.
Yeah, and then the other question that I always had was, what if one person tests positive, right? So I'm pretty sure I had it in Florida, like the last event. Maybe I didn't, but I thought I was going to pass out twice in my hotel room coughing because it was so bad. Like I legitimately like called the front desk one time and then hung up. But if one person tests positive, like, do they just shut the whole thing down, send everybody home? Like, what's the deal? And then I read on there and it said, if you test positive, you can't play the rest of the tournament. Even if you're like leading, you get last place money as if you made the cut. So that means like the people that played with you in your group, I assume they don't get punished for playing with you. They're going to just innocent until proven guilty. Like, I guess they'll test you or something.
Yeah,
and then there's all these things like caddies, you can touch the pin, but then you need to, sanitize it down after you use it, or the rakes. But then there's like, what are they going to do if you don't do that? Like,
I've spoken to several caddies. They're ecstatic about these new rules. They're like, we don't have to rake the bunkers. This is brilliant.
Not supposed to touch the clubs. Like, you carry the bag, but don't touch the clubs.
Hey, this is a great job now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. My man David Eller right now is sitting in South Carolina, just absolutely chomping at the bit to get going. So we're ready.
Mm-hmm. And then I know you have played in one major. You actually made the cut at Erin Hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was that the
That was
highlight of
fun.
your pro career?
Yeah. So the craziest part, two things about that stick out. One, to qualify, I knew I had to birdie my last hole to get in a playoff because they have like live scoring every 9 holes, and I was like, yeah, there's no chance that the number I'm at holds up. Like I just missed a 10-footer for birdie, and 36 hole day. End of the day, I'm not small. I'm at this point I'm 220 something pounds. So I mean, Memphis Heat, it's the real deal. And I hit driver off the deck going for this green and 2 and put it in the greenside bunker in the mayor's office in the greenside bunker. I'm so hyped. I can see a storm rolling in. I'm like, I'm gonna make this thing, and we're headed to the house. And I was playing in St. Jude that week, and I was like, we're gonna drive home and rest up. And I bounced into this ball like you wouldn't believe. There's no sand under it, and the thing just goes shooting like 30, 40 feet past the hole. And lightning strikes like simultaneously. So I had to go in. The guys in my group just quit. Like they just said, all right, man, the scorer at the scoring table said he'd come watch you hit your putt. We're going to sign for the first 17 holes and the first 3 shots on this hole. So I'm sitting there all depressed, and we're about to go back out, and then they stop us. So I like house a Dr. Pepper to try to get a little caffeine in me and get, something going. And they're like, all right, I think we're going to go out and finish. And I'm still thinking, I have to make a putt to get in a freaking playoff now. Like, I'm hyped up on caffeine. Like, it's going to wear off by the time the playoff happens. Like, this is a disaster. Like, I'm an idiot. And so I get out there, and I read this putt, and they won't blow the dadgum horn to start to play. And then it just starts dumping, and they blow the horn to play. And I totally changed my read because it was raining. I was going to have to smash it. And so I took, like, this much off the putt and just absolutely dead hard, like, centered the thing. And made it, and then went and beat Xander Schauffele and Wee Kim and Scott Brown, all these dudes in a playoff to get into the U.S. Open. So that was fun. And then I was playing really good at the U.S. Open and got paired with Justin Thomas the day he set the record for the lowest round in history. So that was fun. And he only closed me out on like hole 16 in match play. So it's not like I played that bad. I mean, just because he's a freak, and finished really good. It's fine.
I saw you've gone low. I saw your career low, 62, which I don't know how that's possible. No one should ever be able to shoot a 62 in a golf course.
That a wise man once told me, you better make the birdies while you can because eventually it's going to stop. So I just usually try to hammer that gas pedal until till the engine gives out.
So momentum is a thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my first NGA Hooters Tour deal, I won. I shot like 13 or 14 under. It's feeling really good. And then I Mondayed into the web event for the next week and played good and missed the cut, and then went and shot 25 under at the next Hooters event the next week and won by 1 shot. So it's like there's all kinds of ways that golf tournaments go, but you got to be able to hammer down when the time's right.
You mentioned there was some like live scoring going on when you were playing. Do you believe any of the guys who are like, no, I got like blinders on. I never know where I am or where people are, in relation to my score, and I just go out there and try to birdie like every hole or something. Do you believe any of that? Or
look, I saw a lady wearing a mask with a hole cut through this part of it because she said she was having trouble breathing through her mask. So there's all kinds of people in the world. I'm just going to throw that out there. And as golfers, we're pretty fragile people, and I got to think that we change stuff. Baseball players are more superstitious, I think, but I mean, golfers change stuff so much. And if not looking at the leaderboard helps, I will say that when I've been the most in the zone, I've had to ask my caddy, I've had to ask my caddy before where we were. Like, I remember I was leading the Nelson my rookie year. I was playing with Spieth on Saturday. CBS Sports, I got, what's his name? The Biz Hubs, Conoco Minolta swing guy.
Peter
He's
Costas.
Following our group. Yeah, Costas. That's my Twitter avatar.
We had him on the pod, friend of the pod.
Yeah. So he's a great guy. There was friends in the booth that went to Ole Miss, like super comfortable day. I'm playing horrible, like, at times. Like, but that's my Twitter avatar, is me boning one in the bunker, and Costas is in the background, like, on the other side of the fairway calling it, I think. But I birdied the like 16th hole there, and I was like, wait a minute, I wonder if I'm leading, because I think we were like fourth to last group out, and DJ was a group behind us, and like, I don't know, that, like, the feeling of that is like, it's like riding a wave. Like, it pushes you so far, like, sometimes, or so fast. Like, that's the biggest difference between junior golf, college golf, and like when you got CBS, cameras on you for the first time. Like, stuff just, like, for me, it seemed like it happened a little bit faster. And you just kind of have to slow down. So for me, like, looking at a leaderboard doesn't speed up my heart rate or anything. Like, if I see I'm leading, I'm like, finally, like, I'm supposed to do this. Like, I made a double eagle last year at the Springfield, Missouri Corn Ferry event, and I pushed this hybrid, and the pin was right, water right, and this thing goes in the hole, and I'm like, that's pretty good. Like, all right.
What?
I think, and then I started thinking, I was like, all right, that's like, all right. So then I birdied the next one. I was like, dang, I just got hot at the end there, and I was like, and I should have got hot. I've been hosed for like the last three years. Like, I'm due for something good to happen. So,
What I'm talking about.
I don't know. Yeah. So I mean, and then I didn't win, and it kind of like that happened. But other than that, it's you gotta learn how to deal with that stuff. Though that's the biggest thing. Like Braden would come out, and we'd play practice rounds, and he'd just be like, yeah, I don't know why 13 under wins this tournament. And I'm like, dude, just wait. Like, the greens get baked out, the wind picks up, and he's just like, nah, it's going to be 20 this year. Just watch. And sure enough, like 11 under won the thing. And it's just like, it's so hard. Like, you think, because you play golf, it's a round hole. It's a round ball. Like, you just have to get it from point A to point B. But at the end of the day, there's so much that goes into it. Like, and then you add in the variable of like looking at leaderboards and stuff. Like, I can't see how that helps anybody one way or the other. But
I loved what you said about like baseball players and golfers. I think I agree. They're very superstitious people, but they're different. Whereas like a baseball player is kind of like a long-term relationship superstitious. Like, they will like lock in on something for a long time. But a golfer, he'll be like, this is working right now, so I'm gonna like keep doing this. But then the second it like flips on them, they jump to something else or switch putters or something.
Yeah, I'm wearing this Tryon Z. Like, I used to wear it because I had a tan line, and that's like the only reason I wore it. And then I was like, well, what if I lose like 2 miles an hour club head speed if I took this off? Like,
Is that like those balance bracelets?
I don't know. I mean, it's got this on the back.
Oh yeah, it's the balance bracelet. That'll work wonders for you.
Yeah, super. Really good.
I once made my parents buy me one of those when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'm convinced since I took it off, that's why there's been such a steep demise.
I can see why you still have your Disney Plus account and you haven't watched anything.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's gone downhill really since I got rid of that.
Hey, look, I can send you a Tron Z. I got a few. Don't worry about it. Oh
yeah, you're locked and loaded with them?
Yeah.
So have you been keeping sharp with your game?
Yeah, so I bought a TrackMan because I had a newborn. I really wasn't able to leave the house, and so I've got a net and some mats that I used to hit into a net. And then I got tired of just hitting the net, and I was like, it felt like that was low right, but I don't know. Like, it's just I need to figure this out. So I got TrackMan. I've been able to stay pretty sharp. Yeah, I mean, I really took advantage. This past off season was like the longest I've ever had. I didn't play a tournament. I think I've missed the cut at the last tournament of the year, and I'd finished second there the year before, and I'd finished second like the year before that or something. Like, I finished second at Evansville twice, and then I was just so beat down last year. Like, at the end of the year, I missed the cut. So that's like September 1st, and I didn't play another tournament to the Bahamas, which was like in January. So you go from playing the 2 years before that, I'd been on the PGA Tour, and I mean, just you go from playing a web season where you play all the way up until the tour starts, and then you play a PGA Tour season that just keeps going and going. Like, I didn't have an off season for like 3 years, and then I had like 4 months at home, and now I've had another 3 months at home. So it's been unreal. Like, just, I don't know. I should be really good when we come back, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like it gives a lot of people a good chance to sharpen their game if they take advantage, because everyone's in the same boat now.
Yeah. Yeah, the short game I haven't really started dialing back up, but I know I can get that going again. But normal off seasons you have, like, except for this last one, you have the month of December at some point to test new gear, get new gear in play, and then like head out to the West Coast where I just play horrible in California normally. And so it's like the start of the year is normally like really slow, and you're like trying to figure out why your 4-iron's spinning more, or why this ball isn't, why'd you back up a 6-iron? If you can't tell, they try to fit me in softer balls each year. I don't like it. But this off season has been great. There's been no change. It's just been me and the ball, and I don't know. There's not a whole lot of noise around when you're in the backyard, and just get out on the golf course in the cart by yourself after that, and it's really, really nice.
What's if you don't mind me asking, what's in Jonathan's bag? What kind of equipment are you sporting?
So Callaway head to toe. I've got blades in at the moment that I've had forever. Roger Cleveland, it was like the first muscle backs basically like he made when he came over to Callaway. They're awesome. I got all of my old gear. I guess like you can't really see it, but I got all my old bags back there, and like a lot of like all my clubs that you can't touch are like in these bags that like I might use again one day. But I've got like a ton of like wedges, like new and old that are U-grinds, and I switched finally to all the new stuff, so they're really happy. But I got the Maverick stuff's incredible. So I got all the Mav stuff. I'm still in last year's 3-wood, the super hybrid. As a marketing major, love that name. They dug deep for that one. But it's actually a really good hybrid, just a terrible name. And then number 7 putters are the best putters on the planet. So
okay,
I got a bunch of those. I got tanks. Yeah, so the tank is like, if I could suggest a putter to anybody that can't putt, the number 7 tank. It's face balance, it's heavy, and then it's counterbalanced with weights. And it literally, like, unless you just have like trimmers, you can line it up. It's got 3 lines. You can line it up, and the thing basically like it goes itself. So
you need to get on like QVC with this.
Look, as someone who eats off the dollar menu if they putt good, I can give a strong endorsement for the number 7.
I love it.
So I got a kind of maybe a unique question for you. Did a little back history on you. Did you grow up volunteering at it was called the Viking? It was a PJ.
Yeah,
that is creepy, Nolan.
No, that's fair game.
Okay. But to come full circle, you ended up getting a player exemption into the tournament later on. Is that true?
Yeah. So I was a standard bearer. So at my high school, we had to have X number of community service hours, and so I absolutely skis balls the system and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna skip class one day this week on Friday and go work the morning, and I'm gonna work Thursday afternoon too. And I would get all my community service hours like that, and I was able to be a standard bearer. And I mean, that was the aha moment where I knew I wanted to do it the rest of my life. But so here's a picture of me, Chris Smith. We're playing a event in Springfield, Illinois. So he grabbed the sign. He goes, "Hey Randolph, take a picture of me. We come full circle." So it's got like him holding the sign for us for that day. But it's incredible. Like I got autographs and stuff. Like, I mean, it was the most fun I ever had. And then to get to play in that as first team All-American, they gave me a sponsor invite the next year. And it was the craziest thing because I played in it and it was a fall tournament, and then they moved it to the summer the next year and I got to play in it again. So I played the tournament twice in like 8 months. It was really nice. But Yeah, I played that, I think, 9 straight years, and this past year was the first year that I didn't play it. So it turned into the Sanderson. That's what this chicken is. I don't know if you mean, that's the Reveille, their mascot for the tournament. But yeah, that tournament, Yodi does not like that thing. You can't see her, but she's giving it away.
I'm surprised your dog hasn't eaten the chicken.
Yeah, she literally hasn't taken her eyes off it until anyway. But yeah, so it was a great tournament, and just to get to play in that one, I don't know, it just meant a lot after having worked it. And it was a alternate field event, like, you know, it's opposite the British, so it's not like we had the best players, but there was always rain delays. And so I would get to go in the locker room and just muck around with like Fulton Allen and like all these old dudes that were like 65, but like they were alternate, like they'd rather play this than the champions event that week. And they would just tell stories, and it was unbelievable. It was like, that was like a dream come true before I ever got paid to do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sounds like a pretty cool experience there.
Yeah, it was. And I only had one bad experience, and it was somebody that apparently is a really nice guy. And he said, "Hey kid, do you want a ball?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he threw it down the cart path, and it shot like 40 feet in the air and went off into like a ditch. And I was like, man, that wasn't cool.
He's
But
like,
other than that, yeah. So other than that, it was nothing but great experiences. And it helps me, like, being that kid. Now every time like I have a standard bear or something, like I want to be like really nice. Like Bo Van Pelt was so nice to me. Like I probably chirped that guy's ear off looking back in hindsight. I didn't ask stupid questions, but I still know I chirped his ear off, and he was so freaking nice to me. Like I would have thought we had Thanksgiving dinner together. So it's like I want to be as nice as I can to kids or whoever, like especially like if they're having a hard time or if they're nervous. Like I always try to lighten them up, or just tell them, hey, it's okay. Like because there's some guys like that are really good friends of mine that will just chew your face off if you move while they're hitting, or like you do something you're not supposed to do. And so then I'll try to like go over and talk to them after, because, they'll turtle after that, and they won't, they're like, all right, I want to go home. But at the end of the day, it's volunteers. You want to, help them, support them, make them want to feel like,
Yeah, exactly.
they are like very important. So.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I feel like a lot of the guys, especially maybe it's just like from out here, you see a lot of the top guys, they tend to ignore a bunch of people and take it a lot more seriously, even though they're not really taking it more seriously, but they don't give the kids as much time a day compared to the other guys. And I feel like you guys are in a great position to inspire people. And it's obviously not going to take away from the golf game, like talking to a kid, talking to a volunteer.
Yeah, 100%. So that's, I don't know, it's the little things in life that shape you. That's one of the things that shaped me, is like, I didn't get a bunch of jerks. Like it's an all field event. Like I'm sure it was a little more laid back than if I'd have been doing it at Colonial or something. But it's I don't know, it's crazy. Like looking back on it, it's not like I'm old, but I'm starting to feel old because I've had all these cool life experiences. But it's how it goes.
All right. Well, before we close things out here, I got one last question for you. This took a lot of digging, and we're going to see if you know the answer. So,
oh boy,
it is, what do all these people have in common? Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, Henrik Stenson, and Justin Rose.
Oh boy. What do they all have in common?
Zach,
hit it further than me. Well, is this like they're cousins with somebody, or is this a golf thing?
No, that would be pretty cool if they're like all cousins with one person. The guy would be a real failure of a golfer if he was cousins with all of them. Yeah,
that'd be a tough look. Man, you've got me stumped. I mean, they're not all tailor-made or anything. Like, I don't know. They're all really good at golf.
Yeah, they are very good at golf, but the one thing they all have in common, it might be the only thing they all have in common, is they all finished below you at the 2017 U.S. Open.
Can't hide talent.
Boom.
Right. How about that research?
As kids said, this ain't no hobby. Yeah, look, Pars win majors, and I'm just waiting on my chance to win the U.S. Open. So I can par course to death.
That's right. You just have to tell everyone. That's something you have to do. 72 straight pars. That'll be.
I mean, I don't know if it exists on the internet, but I was the putt of the day at the U.S. Open. Once again, like that's kind of my strength. I made this stupid. I was playing with John Oda. He saw it. This thing went like way up the hill on number 10 and just curls in at dead speed from like 100 feet. It was the sickest putt. But yeah, so that makes sense that I putted really good that week and beat those guys. So
were you using a number 7 though?
Is the sky blue? Yeah.
That's
just a different head cover that week. I've got my U.S. Open bag right there. They give you all the special head covers with all the stuff on it, and that's a cool perk. But I guess they weren't expecting me because I qualified on a Monday or on a Tuesdays when I got through the playoff, and I got there and my bag didn't have a nameplate on it. They were like, "We promise we'll have it by Thursday," so I sharpied it on there just to be a rube. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, no, that's something that needs to be reformed. If you could par out all 72 holes, I think you should win the tournament. It should be an auto win.
I gave somebody tagged me in the video Justin Thomas making the eagle to set the record, for the lowest score. And what you didn't see was he hit a 3-wood off the tee and cover a bunker that was like 310, which is absurd. Like I thought it was going to one hop into it and it carried it. And then I absolutely just threaded a driver right down the middle, and I hit my 3-wood up there, front edge of the green, and then he obviously stuffed it. And I putted it from this little thing, and it was like fast greens, and it rolled all the way over the hill and down the backside like 20 yards. It was like super demoralizing. I knew it wasn't going to stop. And so I'm sitting there. I didn't know he was putting for like a record, but I was grinding because it was a U.S. Open. Like I'm not going to just go down there like, I'm playing in some tournament I don't care about. So I grinded over this chip shot and still wasn't inside of him, and then grinded over a par putt and made it. And I was like super pleased with myself. And then he made the eagle, and like I gave him one of these because I was like, thank goodness I didn't ice this dude and like totally screw him up. But pars win majors. That's the kind of thing one day you're going to see me make a wicked good par at a major and be like, yep, he said it.
Yeah, well, we have the proof.
Note the time.
Well, thanks so much, John. And as you know, any golfers that come on, or caddies for that matter, we become diehard fans of. So we'll be strongly rooting for you at any tournament. And any of your enemies, you just let us know. We'll distract them.
It's good to have friends. Appreciate
That's
you guys.
right. Yeah. Thanks so much, John. And hopefully we have you on again soon.
Thanks
yeah, man. I'm going to win something. Give you a reason to put me back on.
Of course.